Hey guys, welcome to Season 1, Episode 7 of the AussieDevs podcast. My name's Eric Hine, and I'm here with Glenn Turner.
G'day, Eric.
Hello. A bit of a special on today's episode. We will be interviewing a couple of game jammers. Is that how you call it?
The game jammers.
Game jammers.
These guys participated in the recent global game jam, GGJ17 hashtag.
So on this team, we've got Robbie Bryce, Matt Halse, Gabriel EBS, and Fred Mulholland, along with Grae Saunders, who we've interviewed before. I think it was episode 4.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. 3 maybe.
Yeah.
One of the early of the piece. These guys all participated in the global game jam, and they created a game, Microwave Orama. So have a quick chat to them, talk about how it went, what were the highs, the lows, and
Basically, global game jam stuff.
Yeah.
So just to a brief background
Yeah,
on you guys. I know you're a team of 5. There was 2 designers with it and 2 coders, programmers.
Yeah, and then as well as that, we had Grae and Fred, who are more of the programming side of things. I'm sure you've spoken to Grae a bit, I'm sure. I'm not too sure on what other things Fred's been working on, so if he wants to, he can talk about that.
You know, all the secret stuff.
Yeah,
definitely.
Super secret stuff.
Yeah. Other than that, the other 2 guys we had were Matt, who's here with us today. He's one of the artists on our team, and then the other guy was Gabriel. Unfortunately, Gabriel's not here as well. But he's an artist as well.
Nice. Sweet. And Robbie, you were the project manager for that, basically.
Yeah. So in my old life at work, I used to do a lot of project management and administration and that sort of stuff. So being able to bring those sort of skills into like a game jam sort of area where, you know, trying to keep everyone on track, dealing with all the annoying admin stuff that people don't actually like to do, like made me feel like I was helping.
Did any of you guys know each other prior to running through the jam?
Yeah, so in fact, the 4 of us in this room actually did the Global Game Jam last year as well.
Ah, right.
So we sort of went into it knowing that you know, knowing each other, and that was good. Gabriel, who's not with us today, we met him last year at the Game Jam, but we didn't actually team up with him. This year was a good opportunity to get involved with him and really push the team in that direction.
As well as that, I've known Grae for over 10 years now, so
yeah, right.
Even longer than that. So like we grew up in Darwin together, and and I think Fred and Matt.
Me and Fred were mates from TAFE, so just went into the game jam together and met Grae and Rob, and just went from there. So
yeah, that's that's awesome how you guys all met together, and you two like meeting up in Darwin. I know there's I don't know if there's a lot of stuff to do in Darwin, but
there's plenty to drink.
Yeah, it's funny. I just looked across at my missus, and she's like doing the drinking motion just as you said that.
I guess it's really nice to find someone with similar interests, especially in the game dev space. I know there's.
Yeah, righto. So, what's the whole deal with the game jam itself? I mean, you guys, everyone kind of in the same room, aren't they?
Yeah, so this year was the first time that Perth has done it as a whole group. In previous years, there was a north and south area that was hosted at ECU. Both ECU and Murdoch, I think, were the 2 hosts.
Yep.
And this year, it was hosted at SAE in Northbridge. So this is the first time that we had everyone together in the same place. Yeah. And it was a massive turnout. I think we had an auditorium to seat 80, and we were filled to capacity at the start of the jam.
And standing room at the end only as well.
Yeah.
Nowhere to lay on the floor and have a sleep within the 48 hours, or...
No, actually, SAE were very, very well decked out. I mean, this is, I think it's the School of Audio and Engineering is SAE, and they had sound booths as in there plus computer labs, and in amongst there some rooms that were dedicated just for sleeping. So
That's awesome. Wow, they actually had
I'd
sleeping
probably
room.
spend my whole time just sleeping.
Hibernating. I'm brainstorming.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know that none of you guys had to act as tables and just to prop up the laptops and stuff. Well catered.
You're right.
Previously, in previous years, like when we've done it at ECU, it's just been one large area, which is good and bad in its own ways. Whereas this year it was split up into sort of labs where you sort of shuffled your team in together, which was a bit different, but not worse at all, I'd say.
So how does that work in terms of, so you were saying before they had sound rooms or different areas, did you kind of just, was there like a roster, or you just call dibs when you wanted a certain space?
Not really a roster. I also volunteered as part of it, and basically we just sort of teed things up as they came up. A lot of guys that were of the audio persuasion spent a lot of time in those rooms. I'm going to give a shout out to Brian Fairbanks, who actually did the music on our game.
Yep.
Yeah, so they had opportunity to use those rooms. Basically, all throughout there was at least six audio rooms. So I don't think there was ever anyone sort of fighting for space. So yeah, it just sort of, everyone just sort of fell into their natural pace very quickly, and there wasn't really much of a battle for any resources.
The other thing I've found as well about the game jam sort of environment is everyone knows what you're doing, so like what you're going through, so no one sort of is a bit like, no one's like, I'm using the space now, you can't have it, so
that's good. Yeah, that's good to know.
It's not like my kitchen rules style. It's more,
that is all scripted.
Great British Bake Off style.
It's all dramatized.
Anyway, cool. I suppose, like you said, like-minded people all together at the same place, just to, everyone's there for the same thing. So how does it work in terms of like a brief? You guys are given a brief when you first turn up, right? And then you sort of, do you generate your game around that, or?
So what happens is everyone like meets up at the event at certain time, and then they present a keynote speech to everyone. So that covers like who the sponsors are for the year, and who they'd like to thank and so forth. And then right at the end of the keynote, they'll reveal the theme for the game jam, and that's when everyone either cries or cheers and looks a shot across the room to your partners and stuff. And then after that, they just one final thank, really, and then everyone just goes on their way to begin the game jam and just kicks off.
Yeah. As well as that, people who've come without a team afterwards, they normally sort of break out and sort of see who's there doing what, and if they want to join up with anyone, and sort of make an impromptu team on the spot, which is what we did last year, and ended up meeting these two guys, and they jumped onto our team.
That's really good. That's
I didn't realise that you could just like ride solo and just tack on. I mean, I probably should have read some information. So all right, that's actually really good. So
that's, solo dev friendly, because I know it's kind of hard meeting new mates, but I guess everyone there has similar interests as well, making games. It just makes it easier for them just to join in. And
can you kind of like pour yourself out as well, or like once you join one group, that's what you were saying. Yeah, like helped you before. Hey.
Yeah, definitely. Like the sound guys, they sort of just revealed to everyone, I'm a sound guy, and then sort of shared across the environment.
Is there a significant? Do you notice a significant split between like the professions? Would there be more, I guess, artists over sound engineers and whatnot, programmers, or is it fairly even in that sense?
It tends to be a good mix of artists and programmers. There's always a lack of sound people there, I'd say. There's always at least maybe 2 or 3, split between maybe 8 groups or so.
Yeah.
So they definitely have a lot of work out for them.
All right, so they can help multiple groups if they really want to.
Yeah, so what is it? Each person can only create one project, but one person can be a member of many projects. So on the website, that's the way it works. So you can add multiple people to your project.
That's very cool.
So what was this year's theme? Are you allowed to reveal that?
It was waves this year, like waves, and then surfing waves, sound waves,
microwave,
radio waves.
The theme was literally just the word waves by itself. They had like a little, like the animation they had when they started it up, like, it showed like a crowd doing a Mexican wave, and then an actual wave at the ocean, and then radio waves, and then Wi-Fi waves, and all these different things, and then just the word waves. So the way it actually runs as well is when they show that, the idea is that you don't actually talk about it on social media until every single game jam has got to 6:30 p.m. on the Friday night, which the last one to do that is Hawaii. And then once Hawaii has kicked it off, then everyone can talk about it on social media, so people don't get spoiled for it, and everyone gets the same 48 hours.
We would have been one of the first people. What are we, +8 Perth?
Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, when you said waves, the first thing that came to my mind was beach waves. I don't know.
Yeah. I like your guys' take on it, because we have been looking at the game that you guys created, Microwave-orama. I know, Grae, you've got it on your YouTube. Yeah, it looks pretty slick. I know. Fred, you were programming in Unity as well for this?
Yeah, I assisted Grae in programming the microwave itself and the player controls with that. So interacting with the world and picking up things and putting them in said microwave.
What's, like we just said then, your game's titled Microwave-orama. Give us a spiel on it.
The spiel, like the general story behind it is, you're suddenly, for some reason, in charge of the latest and greatest of like a backroom diner sort of thing. However, everything's broken except your microwave. So all you got to do is microwave stuff and send it out. So it was interesting because we had a lot of ideas on how things would run, and what you find with a game jam, you have all these lofty ideas and exactly how, what you want to happen and things, and then you end up cutting features slowly at first and then very rapidly towards the end until you've got something you can present. So there are plenty of ideas that didn't make the cut, but I'm pretty happy with what we ended up with at the end of the 2 days anyway.
I can imagine, how difficult it would be, because if you've listened to the podcast before, I'm always the one talking about all these crazy ideas. Like, I'll come up with all the far-fetched things. I'm like, we should have these features, and we could do this, and like even just with us messing around in our spare time, and we would find out that, like, okay, none of this is actually possible at the moment with our current skill level and time frame. I can imagine 48 hours that's pretty insane.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, how long did it take you to really close in on that idea about a diner under stress?
It was probably about 2 hours, I'd say. Like we cut, like, after the thing, we all sat down and we threw ideas around back and forth, and we had some more mechanical ideas of games and things, and we just kept on at some point. I was actually
my wife.
Grae sent a message to his wife saying, this is the theme, have you got any ideas? And she came back with microwaves, and the moment that came back, like, whenever we were talking about stuff, it just kept bouncing back to the microwave. So we got to the point where we just sat down and we said, look, we have a choice now. We can either keep talking about this, or we can just go with the microwave idea. And we ended up going with the microwave idea.
Often at game jams, the silliest idea ends up floating to the top. In this case, it did. 2 years ago, we actually we had the first time we actually did it. We had quite a large group, and one of the ideas that came up was wood chopping. Just basically, you just go around and chop wood, and we laughed at it at first because it was a stupid idea. The theme was, what do we do now? It was a very open-ended thing.
Yeah.
And we thought, it's a silly idea, we won't do it. This year, but we ended up doing it. We had two people split off, they did it. They made wood chopping simulator, and it was the best game that came out of our large group. But this year, when we saw the silly idea, I think experience taught us that it's often not to be completely negated. You do need to really consider it. And it floated to the top, and we just said, let's go with it, and we did.
Yeah, we just worked out a little concept on how it actually turned that idea of a microwave into a game, and gave a few sort of thoughts about how you deal with different states and actually giving objectives and that sort of thing, and how you'd progress the gameplay, and then ended up with what we got. So,
being someone who's experienced a lot of microwavable food, I think it's kind of crazy how you think it's a silly idea, but a lot of people actually go through it, and they still want to play games similar to that. So,
if you played the bread game, is it I Am Bread or something on Steam? Oh man, like that's a crazy game. You slice of bread and you've got to like navigate the toaster. And the controls, man, are such a hard game to play. But then you just want to beat it. It's one of those things where you just like, I must get to the toaster.
Service people.
Yeah.
You'd expect it to be hard to control. I mean, have you seen how agile a piece of bread is?
It's actually funny that you mentioned that, though. Like, weird controls. Yeah, everyone plays those sort of games. Like with the microwave game for us, we were just wandering around getting dinner that night, thinking about these like serious game ideas. Top-down tower defense, like post-apocalyptic survival. And the whole time, I just kept thinking microwave.
Damn, I'm hungry.
It's an idea that sticks.
Like you're saying, there's so many ideas being thrown around and stuff like that, and you sort of said, in the end, okay, it's either this or we keep on discussing. How did you guys go as a team in making those decisions? Robbie, you were sort of project management there. Did you kind of say, all right, guys, we have to move on, or?
It was more, we got to a point where we had 3 or 4 good ideas we could work with, and then we said, all right, let's go get some food, and when we come back, we'll talk about, where we're at.
Yeah.
And everyone came back, and everyone had pretty much said, well, I like the microwave idea, so we just stuck with that. So, it was, I think it was unanimous. I think everyone was just like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do this. It seems like fun. So we just carried on with it.
I think that's it. You just have to take the step as well. If everyone agrees to something like that, and with that time limit, 48 hours,
you've really got to nail down your concept really quickly and then just start working, because the sooner you start working, the more work you get done.
I've done similar things to this, not at all in game dev, but just in sort of a work environment. And if you treat it too much like a democracy as well, sometimes I find things can drag out even further, and you kind of almost need to just go, this is 2 options, we're going with this one or this one, bang, because especially in 48 hours, you don't have time to faff around, basically.
So as project manager as well, Robbie, did you find yourself having to step in and just make an executive decision on some features or aspects?
Well, unfortunately, as well as doing the sort of project management style, I was also kind of the design head as well, which meant that a lot of the things that I wanted to go in didn't get to make it. So I think it was more of I was able to take we can't do that, we'll put it on the back burner list, and turn that into a list of actual things to put on the back burner, rather than saying, no, we have to do this, we force, we were able to work together quite well. I worked with Grae quite closely as to what we thought we could get done within the 48 hours, and say, focus on this, get this next part done, get this next part done, and then once it's all together, we'll look and see if we've got any extra time to put stuff in.
I was just going to say that there is a phrase that you have to say at a game jam, and that's MVP, or minimum viable product. I was just about to say that as well. and it's something I say a lot. The guys probably sick of hearing me say it, but it is literally, you basically, you get your list and you slash it to pieces, and you start with what the game can be, and then go from there. And for a long time there, we looked like we were going to get all of these stretch goals in, and at the end, I think we just got MVP in.
Hey,
it's funny because we were joking about. Oh, sorry, mate. We were just joking about how microwave game, that's gonna be it's easy, We're gonna smash this through and get everything done. And then right at the end, we're like, crap, we only just got away from the microwave.
So what's the premise of the microwave as well? It's sort of like a timer in the top right hand corner, basically time to get a certain amount of orders in or something like that. Is that kind of the way you guys are working with it?
Yeah, so the idea was that it would work in multiple phases. So you'd have like a list of goals and things that pop up on the chalkboard there, and then you'd start, might be like 3 popcorns. So you have to microwave 3 popcorns.
Yeah.
Each object that went in the microwave had a curve of how long it should stay in the microwave for, and depending on where you microwaved it, it got different values for when you threw it into the dumb waiter.
So you could bang it out before it's cooked and chuck it in and say, okay, this is cooked enough for you, but molten lava on the outside, frozen in the middle.
Those poor customers.
One of the other ideas that we had was combinations of food to go in for things. Like there was you put like chips and a hamburger in, it would come out as like a burger McDonald's meal or burger meal sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we had all the recipes down and how they would all work, but we didn't actually get into implementing them.
Yeah.
One of the fun ones on that was a critic's meal. So like you just took your TV dinner and you put a wad of cash on top of it, and you serve that to the critic to get your good rating.
That's quite good.
I really like the art style for that game as well. It kind of reminds me of Octodad. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's basically based around a house. So I know Matt, yourself, and Gabriel did a lot of the artwork. Is that your typical style?
Yeah. So Gabriel did the sort of the room environment. I was more on the prop side of things.
Yeah.
I had a talk to Gabriel just before we started cracking on, and I said, well, we should really figure out our palette before we continue on, and then so I'm not making so we looked up 70s sort of color retro palettes and stuff. We found one that we just couldn't keep our eyes off, and so he started basing the room around these designs. I thought, I can make TV dinners that would look similar and would suit it, and it just worked together really well with that, to be honest. Gabriel was smashing out the assets, and I was digging through the prop list, just getting stuff done as well. So
yeah, it looks really good. That checkered floor really gets me. That's like captured.
Now you mentioned it, it looks pretty 70s.
That age.
Originally, the walls were checkered as well, and I just thought it was too much, so that's why we switched it over to the vertical stripes. So.
Have people throwing up as they're like padding around the room. That's something I was just thinking before as well. Like, I suppose yourself and Matt and Gabriel, both two people doing art, and then also Fred and Grae, you guys both doing programming. How did you guys go with division of labour at the start? Did you kind of just go, I want to do this, and you can do that, or how does it flow?
Well, I guess in a game jam, the hardest thing is working out how you all fit together, especially if you don't work together the majority of the time. From the coding side, Fred and I were able to sort of just quickly suss out what components we could do. I looked at doing the game cycle, so having a game manager object that basically controls what phase of the game, and I worked on the orders, and as Fred already sort of talked about, he was working on the character controller and the microwave controller. Yeah. So those components we were able to sort of divide. I think Robbie was able to get involved in the process and sort of work out what was needed from the art asset side. So he was basically designing the products and saying, well, this is the kind of products that we're going to have. And one of the key things to a good global game jam is being organised.
Yes.
One of the things that Robbie teed up beforehand was a Slack channel, which tips young players, get out there, get a Slack channel if you're working with a big team.
Slack's good.
Been able to use BusyBot, I think was the add-on that basically assigns tasks. So you're able to Robbie was able to put in a pineapple, a microwave dinner and things like that. And as the guys finished them off, they were able to basically just go in there and tick it off. We're able to drop the files in there so that we could pick them up and pull them into the Unity build and go from there. So.
That sounds like something we should get.
Yeah.
Like I've used Slack before at work to talk to people off site, and it's a pretty handy thing to have. We'll get onto that. We're learning something new.
There's plenty of good Slack extensions for like managing groups and tasks and times and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it's Trello as well is another really good one.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I would recommend Trello. It's super handy.
I did have one set up for us, but we didn't end up using it in the end. So
that's really good to hear that organisation is key to that, and there are a whole bunch of free apps that allow you to do that. So
I was going to say, you're like the best thing about a global game jam is being organised. I was like, oh man, I'm already gone. Organisation skills. Not there.
Even then, I wouldn't say being if you're not a very personal, organised as long as you've got someone on your team who's able to sort of break it down into, this is what we need you to work on right now. Like we had sort of an accelerated stand-up as well. So every 4 to 6 hours we did a quick stand-up meeting, which is, I don't know if you've ever done sort of Scrum development or anything like that. Like a stand-up meeting is
agile.
Agile and Scrum and all of that fun stuff. it's called a stand-up meeting because the idea is you actually want to stand up so that it's uncomfortable, so you just want to get through it quickly.
Fair enough.
And the things you talk about is you talk about what you've just finished, what you're working on now, what you're working on next, and anything that's going to stop you working on things. And you just sort of go around in a circle, say all of those things, and then so that everyone knows sort of where everyone's at. And if you need something from someone, you can just say to them, I need this from you, and they can prioritize it. So it's a good way to make sure that the project ticks along nicely.
That's really impressive, yeah.
I was really confused when I got an email a while ago about Scrum training, and I used to play rugby, and I was like, why am I getting emails about Scrum training? I don't play anymore. And then I opened it up and, oh, not that Scrum.
I'd just like to point out one thing, though. As Robbie said, you are meant to stand up, but in the last one we did was completely sat down because we were at that point.
Like the old stand-up, sit-down meeting.
The sit-down with a coffee, because I don't know if many of us had the energy at that point. We were, I think, 4 or 5 hours out from the last push, but it was the last push at that point, so it was taken a little easier.
Towards the end, Grae was running on fumes, that's for sure.
Wow. That's what I really wanted to figure out, was how taxing was this whole jam, and would you guys work 12, 14 hours of a day?
14? 16 to 18.
16 to 18,
48
so it was
straight.
really intense.
You'd
work,
from my personal experience, I as I said, I was doing volunteering, so I was on the door until 2 in the morning. After that, the first night went home, probably crashed about 2:30, 3 o'clock. Was up on my own at 6:30 before my alarm, at least half an hour, and I was like, why am I wide awake? And then I remember it's Global Game Jam, and I love it. It's my Christmas. And so I'm up on 4 hours sleep on the first night, and I think, I'll get some naps during the day. No, that doesn't happen. I'll get a nap overnight. Yep, I go and have my nap. Only 2.5 hours. Unfortunately, got the sleeping room that had the snorer, so it was a little bit of a hard sleep. But hey, look, I was tired enough that I did get some sleep. But yeah, that last part of the day, you really do struggle.
Yeah, I found personally. First night, went home, had a good sleep, crack on in the morning, like no worries. Then I'm telling myself the whole day, I'll do an all-nighter, you can do it. Comes like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I said, nah. So I went into the sleeping room. It's just a cold, hard floor. It's not much different. So got like 4 hours. Got like 4 hours sleep, and then just woke up, thought, right, back to it, walked back into the computer lab.
So I remember seeing something around make sure you bring food and then and drinks, and then it's got in captions water. I imagine there'd be heaps of people there smashing the Red Bulls, but trying to do that for 2 days, you're not going to end up very well, eh?
So you guys, they had a cafeteria there for you, obviously, to cater for some food. What was your diet like? I mean, it's just like the randomest stuff there, but eating well, I think helps,
With us being close to the sea, I kind of just wandered off every now and again with Matt and got some food, either Subway or what else did we get, Matt?
You got a Mexican wrap or something?
Yeah, that's what random burrito wraps or Subway.
Yeah, what's it called? Fringe was on that weekend, so they had like all the food trucks and stuff out in force.
Yep.
As well as that, the organisers actually did catering as well, so you could order a breakfast and a lunch each day. And it was good food. It was like a salad with chicken, or like a ham and salad roll, or something like that. So you didn't have to think about it. It just someone came around and said the food's here. You go in, you get your food, and it was good. I'm a big believer. Yeah, I'm a big believer in not if you're trying to do something, you need to keep you can't just eat junk food sort of thing.
Yeah, yep.
You really need to, because otherwise you just get your sugar spikes and you rise and crash, and you just
Doritos.
Yeah, playing games maybe. You're trying to do anything a bit more intense with your mind, you really struggle with it.
I actually read this article a little while ago, and it was like a sports physiologist or sports scientist about looking into esports gamers and how his biggest thing was their diet is crap, and if they actually ate better, they would be
more successful.
They'd be more successful at esports. It's quite an interesting article.
that's a big thing in Korean esports and stuff now. Like all the Korean gaming houses now employ dietitians and physical trainers and stuff like that.
It sounds crazy, but it's true. Like,
it's actually starting to break into the US gaming houses as well for League of Legends and Dota and that sort of thing. All the teams are starting to employ like sports psychologists and things like that to actually work on the decision-making process and things rather than just, I'll go out there and play games.
Well, there's big money in it.
Like,
Ish.
Well,
Yeah,
if you're good.
There's big money for a very small number of people.
Like the rest of the states.
Yeah.
We won't go into that.
So I guess for maybe 2000 the next game jam, would you guys be interested in like a dietitian coming along? Being part of
I wouldn't say no.
So,
I think the catered food is probably enough. Like just making sure you're eating something that isn't just sugar.
Eric asking the hard
this is important. I could
eat.
probably be doing that.
I could make sandwiches.
Here's your oranges, guys.
With the scrums as well, they're super helpful at like giving your body a stretch, because when you're just jamming away, like personally I was going through some assets and look at the clock 1 minute and then look again and you think it's been maybe an hour and 3-4 hours have passed. You think, shit, I've been sitting here for that long. So you just keep going, and then with the scrums, you get up, you move around, you realise, like, geez, this is important. So
maybe the next level is a masseuse. Just
you
got a neck rub while you
got the whole cheerleading squad.
You're volunteering for that for next year, eh?
It's probably
Eric's got everything covered.
I'm a sound guy. I'm a masseuse.
You probably have the biggest queue, I reckon. So, you mentioned before there's a whole bunch of people there, and also said that on this coming Friday at the Play Up event, we're going to be showcasing or talking about all the games that people made.
So I believe 13 games are going to be shown out of the 26 that were made for
26.
It's going to be, as per usual, at Nostalgia Box, I think from 6 o'clock. And it'll be an 18-plus event, so you will be able to have a drink while you play some of these silly games, which most of the time you will kind of need to really get Microwave Simulator. Microwave-orama. It'll this Friday is the play up. So definitely anyone out there that's got the time, feel free to come down. You can get tickets through the playoutperth.org, I think is the site.
Yes.
And they are $10 for non-FTI members, $7 for FTI members. So come down if you're free.
My suggestion would be to buy a ticket online. I tried to turn up to one a couple of months ago, and they were like, "No, we're full," and I had to wait like an hour and a half to get in. It was crazy.
But that's where we met.
Yeah, well, I just assumed that like no one would be there. It's sounding really bad, but you know what I mean. Like,
you guys obviously have your own projects, your personal projects and stuff like that. I guess moving on from the Global Game Jam, you'll have to wait for another year before the next one. Robbie, do you have anything you're currently working on?
A lot of the stuff I'm working on is actually for my actual day job. So I'm working at a non-profit at the moment called TADWA, which is Technology Assisting Disability, WA. So we do sort of home modifications and technological things for people. So like for people in wheelchairs, we'll install a button on their wheelchair that opens their front door.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So currently I'm just looking after the computers in the IT network, but just this week I approached my boss, and I'm going to start doing a lot more actual product development work with the electricians, the other makers, I guess I'd call them, because we've got like a CNC milling machine, a couple of 3D printers, and just actually making and coming up with ideas for new products rather than just looking after their computers.
That's cool. That's actually a really cool organisation. Like I'd heard of similar things. I don't think I'd particularly heard of this one before, but that's awesome.
Yeah, just keeping up with technology kind of thing and making it a lot more accessible for people. That's really cool.
What's the
Yep. I was just going to say, like, we do a lot of home automation and a lot of things like that. So we also run like a help desk for people with disabilities as well. So
there's also a company, I'm not sure, I've just heard of it before, that do like game controllers and stuff for people with disabilities.
That's actually there is a bunch of people who do that, but one of the new guys we've just brought on is really sort of passionate about that sort of thing. He and I have just been working on an Xbox 360 controller that we've converted to be the internals of the controller are now in a joystick rather than a controller. And the joystick has extra buttons that we install on the sides of it. So the hi-hat on the top of the joystick is the right analog stick. The joystick itself is the left, and it has all of the triggers and face buttons along the sides of the joystick.
Very nice.
So it can all be used one-handed.
Sweet. Because, like, you don't ever, you get told, we work in the mining industry, and, you get told about, we've done the whole thing where you tape up, or you tie all your fingers together and tape your hand up and stuff, and then, you got to go around doing everyday things like tying shoes and stuff like that. But what you don't often think about is, how am I going to play games? the real important things.
If you guys haven't heard of him, there's a Street Fighter V Pro called Broly Legs. It's not his actual name, that's his gaming name. But he has no arms and no legs and plays Street Fighter V with his face.
Wow.
I can't even play it, and wow.
So if you're interested, check him out. It's pretty cool stuff.
Broly Legs.
Broly, Broly, like the Dragon Ball Z character.
Oh, okay,
yeah, gotcha. Yep. Oh, sorry, random. Did you see the Japanese Olympics? All their mascots are anime.
Yeah.
That's wicked. I was just like, it's only Japan. Like, of course we're gonna do that. Well, when they announced that Japan were gonna host the game, didn't the Prime Minister, President, whatever, I don't know what it is, come out of the a tube like dressed as Mario? Yeah.
Wow.
Wicked.
And I know, Matt, do you have any projects you're currently working on?
So recently I just got back into TAFE actually. I used to do a game course a few years ago, and the lecturers started up a new one where we can go in and use their computer labs, but also gain access to them as mentors. So we can just work on our own project, and if we reach a snag or something, or we just need a bit more advice, we can just reach out. So that's given me a great excuse to start up a project I've been wanting to do for years now, a bank heist game. So
sweet.
Full on, case the joint, plan it out, and then execute it. So before that, I was working on Corporate Combat, which is my side view fighting game set in a office space. And,
Nice.
Yeah, I showed it off at Perth Games Festival last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I've gotten good feedback from that, which is great. But I think now's the time for me to just move on to my new project and just fully commit to that one. So
yeah,
bit of a change in pace, I guess, for now.
That's very cool. A corporate combat sounds very cool. Like, you'd want to do that at work.
Yeah, just because you can think of people at work that you want to beat up. And, yeah, sometimes you just want to do it anyway.
No, so that TAFE course that you were doing before, what was the title of that? What's the actual course called?
So I did that one with Fred as well. We started out in
2013
with Cert 3, I think.
It's like a Cert 3 and 4 year-long thing.
Yeah, we did like digital media for Cert 3 and 4.
Nice, okay.
And then from there, we could either do games or animation. And I mean, of course, we did games, but and then that moved on to advanced diploma as well. And yeah, finishing that, we're technically qualified to make games now. So
wow. Yeah.
Sweet. So it all comes down to experience, I guess. So.
Yeah.
We kind of spoke about this on a previous podcast around
vet help.
Yeah, they've now changed the vet help fee system. So I don't know whether that affected you guys personally, or is it not really had any effect on the courses you guys are looking at doing?
Yeah, so I'm not sure about Fred for this one, but personally I had to apply for vet fee help, and at the time they bumped up TAFE prices for no reason at all that we could see. and so that sort of affected how much we owe back for vet fee help. But with this new course, the lecturers sort of done it in a way where we pay absolute minimum just so we can like get in there.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool of him. But I don't know if Fred was affected by the vet fee help.
I had the vet fee help as well.
Yeah.
I'm bad with money, so I don't really pay attention to this.
I mean, games and technology, they've kind of kept on the list of things that they're sort of supporting. I don't think it's really going to affect people too badly, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's going to be any more effects to people. Like, I think, it wasn't SAE, but it was the other college that was going to open a Perth campus, and they've delayed that now to see how this is going to affect them.
Yeah, I guess it's delayed a few of those things.
Yeah, so interesting. IG, I can't.
AIE?
Yeah. Yes, the other one. And then
I think they ran like weird half semester courses last year just to test the waters in Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully it doesn't have an effect on people or negative effect on people sort of studying games and technology, because that'd be dumb.
Yeah, and Fred, yourself, you're still programming away. You got a few projects up your sleeve.
Like Mac, I've recently just gone back to TAFE for that alumni course thing. I'm kind of working on a 2D platformer thing with my girlfriend, who's an artist.
Awesome.
Yeah. So if there's any
Dev
arguments,
together.
I have to just completely just agree with her.
Yeah. You were wrong.
Yeah. With the TAFE course thing, one of the things they made during our last year at TAFE, they made this weird arcade machine with like pressure lifts or something in it. I don't think anyone ended up making a game for it, but I'm really tempted to try and make something with that. Like a weird, I don't know, like mech tank game where you move around and there's like cockpit and she moves around.
Kind of like Dead Man Switch type thingies on trains in terms of you got to press this thing down. Is that what you mean? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, pressure sensitive pads.
Is it more like a hydraulic seat?
Yeah, it's like a hydraulic seat system.
Oh,
Okay.
Puts you in like
gotcha.
a pilot position kind of thing, and you. Is it like a?
Do you remember like back when arcades were still a thing?
Yeah.
And you
And
used to be able to
special.
play like Mech Warrior in those. And it was always like real expensive to play. And I never had enough money
All
to
the
play.
tokens, man.
Yeah, it was like you were like, oh, it's $5 to play. What?
Yeah, that would be really cool. And,
I never really got into Mech Warrior games, just personally. And you're still working on your Voxel game there, Grae?
Absolutely, a little bit lost.
A little bit
still
lost.
plugging away.
yeah.
Figured out the
Just some recent milestones. I've got it to a point where infrastructure-wise, networking will be a thing. It may be limited in that being that I'm a solo developer, my intention is to basically support local multiplayer only.
Yep.
I mean, if people want to do online and stuff like that, I'll that can be a thing when I'm making money. Afford,
when you can afford to eat.
do stuff with it. Yeah. For now, it's in. I've basically got quite a few of the large components switched over to network now, and the next couple of months basically just need to get the ants and the spiders working over the network, and then basically from there, it's going to be again a content grind of putting new things in. Last time we talked about after our interview, we talked about my goal was to have the ants, the spiders, and every so often an event with maybe a wasp. That's still the goal, but now it's going to be there with networking. And at the moment, I'm looking towards maybe June to get that all squared away.
Oh, cool.
And I want to really have a really polished product for PGF this year.
Yeah, that'd be really good. So the peacock spider's all ready to roll?
He is. I'm not really happy with the art on him, but I'm happy with the model himself. It's the textures that I'm still experimenting with. I managed to purchase an asset through the Unity asset store, which is fantastic.
The old asset store.
To do the fur. So it's looking like a hairy spider, which is quite nice. So I just need to really try and spend some time experimenting with the art and getting it to a point that it might not be the final product, but at least it would be something that I'm happy with for now, until I can either, like I say, afford somebody to come and help. So,
Someone that shares same bug passion as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we've been summer, we've had plenty of redbacks around the house. I don't let my wife kill them. My wife goes, there's a redback, and I'm like, don't kill it yet. And I race out there with the camera and get all of these photos at different angles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am one of those crazy bug people, I guess.
It's good to hear that you guys are all busy working away. I guess Global Game Jam really brings you guys together every so often, at least once a year. So would you guys consider making something together, like out of the jam?
I guess it's something, we definitely be all keen to do. It's about aligning schedules. Is probably the biggest problem. Being personally a little bit lost is my everything outside of my normal 9 to 5 job. Hopefully my wife didn't hear that bit. She's my everything and then. So it becomes a bit of a challenge to find a project that's not going to be too big that it consumes too much time. I get involved in things like the level 1 co-working space days, where it's not so much about necessarily working with people, but being able to work with people around is a way of describing it. And you can talk about ideas and still help each other overcome obstacles without actually, working on the same project at the same time. And I think that's something that we are Matt and Fred and I went last week, and it was a good opportunity to sort of chat about what we're working on, and if there was any problems, and it's a great thing to be a part of.
Is that still every Thursday?
Yes, that was Wednesday last week because of Australia Day. I think the intent is for it to be every Thursday, as well as having a after hours every fortnight, I think. But they're still firming up how often they want to do that because it is very popular. So it may be weekly.
Yeah, wow, that'd be really good. I'm going to New Zealand in about a week or so, and I think you saw it, Grae, but I kind of hit up their game association, and they've sent me a list of their events that they're having. Awesome. So I'm hoping to try and just pop into one and just see how different they are.
Practice your accent there.
But they have a heap of events all over, weekly meetups in a whole bunch of cities, which is quite surprising to me, just off the cuff. Not really thinking about it, but yeah. So we'll try and get to a few of those. See if the wife will let me.
So the game industry as well is actually a lot bigger over in Melbourne. Melbourne especially. I'm not sure about Sydney, but I went to PAX last year. Matt and Grae were there as well.
We were talking about going.
And you should just go.
We're going to go next year. This year. Just
go.
Yeah. Sorry.
But because they've got the Unity Unite there as well, and I know of a GCAP, and I know of a few people who studied sort of game-related things in Melbourne who have gone on to big things. Like one of them is now living in Malaysia with a group of, and they run like a mobile games company. I'm not sure how well he's doing. And another guy I know, he's now living in Amsterdam working on game-related stuff, but I can't remember. He used to work for that other indie store that's not itch.io. No, it started with a D, I think.
Disera?
Disera, yeah. He used to work with them, but apparently they weren't good. So,
well, hopefully when you're in New Zealand, one of the people that I met at PAX groups of people was the people behind a game. I can't remember the exact name, but the studio is Lost Goblin, and basically it's a bit of a strategy sort of game. So hopefully you get an opportunity to meet those guys. They were their game looks really, really solid. So give them that little shout out.
Yeah, well, I was looking at them today on Twitter, and because they said they released their alpha now. So
yep, that would be.
It looks real cool. Definitely.
Yeah, it's such a pretty looking game.
Yeah.
I got to play it for a little bit.
Oh, really?
That was terrible. It was fun.
Yeah, it looks real cool. Yeah, no, I'm actually really hyped for that game.
Hopefully the opportunity comes up and you get to meet them while you're there.
Yeah, well, it'd be cool to get like even just some audio snippets, talking to some people over there, and just chuck it up, just see what the differences are.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to find out. The comparison between Australia and New Zealand games.
We don't obviously compare against New Zealand often, so
They usually
in like everything else.
Yeah.
So if people do want to hit you guys up, to maybe work with you on something or just see what you guys are up to, what's probably the easiest way? I know yourself, Grae, you're on Twitter a fair bit, and you've got a website as well for A Little Bit Lost.
Yep. So that will be the easiest way to get hold of me is littlebitlostgame.com or at Grae_Saunders. It's GRAE.
Yep. And we'll share that. We'll link that to the website as well. What about yourself, Fred? Have you got any way people can get in contact with you?
People can just get in contact with me over Twitter.
Yep.
My Twitter handle's at big_triple_F.
Yep. Is that unusual response?
I'm too lazy to change it to my real name yet.
Yourself, Matt?
Oh yeah, probably through Twitter is probably the easiest for me. My things at M_Halse, so that's HALSE, like Halse with a H.
That's how you pronounce it. I was like, Halse?
Do you actually have like a portfolio or someplace where you can see some of your art styles?
Unfortunately, I haven't got around to doing like a legit portfolio. Probably my best bet for that one is I think it's a blogger website. Jeez, it's been a while now. It's like matthhalse.blogger or Matthew. I don't know. I'll post it on my Twitter. So
yeah. I mean, if you guys are keen to, or if you do put stuff up there, just shout out to us and we can share it.
Yeah, for sure.
People, try to spread the word. And Robbie, mate, how are people get in contact with you?
I'm on Twitter as well, but not particularly active, and it's just at braindance_AU.
Yep.
I love that. Happy dance, guys.
Appreciate you guys taking the time on a Wednesday afternoon or evening
it's
chat
a school
to us.
night.
Yeah. I got to go to school tomorrow. Some of you guys might have to actually. Appreciate you guys taking the time to have a chat, and hopefully we see you guys at the next Global Game Jam.
Yeah, next game.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us all.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
No worries.
You guys gonna just drink it up now?
We're in my office that has a bar, so
Convenience.
Wow, your office has a bar.
I am living the game dev life. Apart from still having a 9 to 5, I am trying to get everything set up for that life.
Right, guys. Thanks again for your time, and we'll see you guys around the scene.
Thanks for listening to this episode, guys. All the resources will be available on our website, AussieDevs.com.
On the line.
Hit us up on AussieDevs, at AussieDevs on Twitter if you guys have any gaming queries or just want to reach out to the guys we've interviewed today.
Or if you alternatively want to come on the show and chat about any projects that you're currently working on.
No worries. This is us, signing out.
Catch ya.